Becoming a spiritual being is synonymous with being a miracle worker and knowing the bliss of real magic. The differences between people who are non-spiritual or physical-only beings and those that I call spiritual beings are dramatic. I use the terms spiritual and non-spiritual in the sense that a spiritual being has a conscious awareness both of the physical and the invisible dimension, while the non-spiritual being is only aware of the physical domain. Here are 12 beliefs and practices for you to cultivate as you develop your abilities to manifest miracles in your life. Number 1. A spiritual being knows that there are other senses beyond the 5 physical senses. The non-spiritual being lives exclusively within the 5 senses, believing that if you cannot see, touch, smell, hear, or taste it, then it simply doesn't exist. As you work toward becoming a spiritual being as well as a physical being, you begin to live more and more consciously within the invisible realm. Hence, a whole new world opens up. Number 2. The non-spiritual being believes we are alone in the universe. The spiritual being knows he or she is never alone. A spiritual being is comfortable with the idea of having teachers, observers, and divine guidance available at any time. For the non-spiritual being, this is all hogwash. This is a physical-only universe to the non-spiritual being, and the goal is to manipulate and control the physical world in any way that we can. Spiritual beings know that they are not alone, and that they can use their own divine guidance to become miracle makers in their own lives. Number 3. The non-spiritual being is focused on external power. The spiritual being is focused on personal empowerment. External power is all located in the dominance of and control over the physical world. This is the power of war and military might, the power of laws and organization, the power of business and stock market games. By contrast, the spiritual being is focused on empowering himself and others to higher and higher levels of consciousness and achievement. It is true empowerment to know that one can live in the world with others who have different points of view and have no need to control or vanquish them as victims. Once you no longer need to dominate others, to acquire more stuff, or to control the environment around you, you will have shifted your focus from external power to personal empowerment. Number 4. The non-spiritual being feels separated and distinct from all others, a being unto himself. The spiritual being knows that he is connected to all others and lives his life as if each person he meets shares being human with him. When a person feels himself to be separate from all others, he becomes more self-centered and much less concerned about the problems of others. The spiritual being knows that we are all connected and is able to see the fullness of God in each person with whom he makes contact in his life. Being connected means that the need for conflict and confrontation is eliminated. Number 5. The non-spiritual being believes exclusively in a cause-effect interpretation of life. The spiritual being knows that there is a higher power working in the universe beyond mere cause and effect. The non-spiritual being lives exclusively in the world of the physical, where cause and effect rules. The spiritual being goes beyond Newton's physics and lives in an entirely different realm. The spiritual being knows that thoughts come out of nothingness, and that in our dream state, when we are in pure thought, cause and effect play no role whatsoever. Number 6. The non-spiritual being is motivated in life by achievement, performance, and acquisitions. The spiritual being is motivated by ethics, serenity, and quality of life. For the non-spiritual being, the focus is on learning for the purpose of high grades, getting ahead, and acquiring possessions. For the spiritual being, success is defined by aligning oneself with one's purpose. The spiritual being knows that living purposefully involves serving in a loving fashion. While the spiritual being will achieve and perform at high levels and even acquire many possessions, it is not the end-all principle that guides his life. Number 7. The non-spiritual being has no place for the practice of meditation. The spiritual being cannot imagine life without it. For the non-spiritual being, answers are sought by working hard, struggling, persevering, setting goals, and in competing in a dog-eat-dog world. The spiritual being knows the enormous power of the practices of meditation. He knows that meditation makes him more alert and able to think more clearly. For the non-spiritual being, this is perceived as an escape from reality. But for the spiritual being, it is an introduction to a whole new reality that includes an opening in your life that will lead you to miracle making. Number 8. For the non-spiritual being, the concept of intuition can be reduced to a bunch of haphazard thoughts. For the spiritual being, intuition is viewed as guidance, and this inner insight is never taken lightly or ignored. You know from your own experience that when you ignore your intuitive proddings, you end up being sorry or having a hard lesson show up in your life. To the non-spiritual person, intuition is often ignored or shunned in favor of behaving in habitual ways. The spiritual being strives to increase consciousness concerning their intuition. They pay attention to their invisible messages and know deep within that there is something working here that is much more than a coincidence. Number 9. The non-spiritual being hates evil and is determined to eradicate that which he believes to be evil. The spiritual being knows that everything that he hates and fights weakens him, and all that he is for empowers him. The non-spiritual being knows what he hates, and much of his energy, both mental and physical, is devoted to fighting what he perceives to be bad or evil. Spiritual beings do not order their lives to be against anything. They work for what they are for, rather than fighting what they are against. When you fight evil by employing the methods of hatred and violence, you yourself become a part of the hatred and violence of evil itself, despite the rightness of your position in your own mind. Real magic occurs in your life when you have eliminated the hatred that is in your life, even the hatred that you have against hatred. Number 10. The non-spiritual person feels no sense of responsibility to the universe. Therefore, he has not developed a reverence for life. The spiritual being has a reverence for life that goes to the essence of all beings. The spiritual being behaves as if the God in all life mattered, and he feels a sense of responsibility to the universe. Miracle-making capability comes out of a strong reverence for all life, including your own, and therefore, in order to know real magic, you must learn to think and act in ways consistent with being a reverent spiritual being. Number 11. The non-spiritual being finds himself laden down with grudges, hostility, and the need for revenge. The spiritual being has no room in his heart for such impediments to miracle-making and real magic. The spiritual being knows that all spiritual masters have talked about the importance of forgiveness. Forgiveness is an act of the heart. If you fill your inner invisible self with bitterness and revenge toward others, you'll leave no room for the harmony and love that are necessary in order for you to experience real magic in your life. And finally, number 12. The non-spiritual being knows that there are real-world limitations, and that while there may be some evidence that miracles exist, they are viewed as random happenings for a few fortunate others. The spiritual being believes in miracles and his own unique ability to receive loving guidance and to experience a world of real magic.
People say to me, I don't have time to meditate. I say, how many times a day do you stop at a red light? 20, 30, 40 times a day? When you stop at a red light, your car has come to a halt. Your body has come to a halt. Your mind is still in chatter mode, telling you if the guy ahead of you would have only gone through on your yellow that you paid for, that you'd be halfway to work right now. And this is a person in front of me that's driving slow who's looking for an opportunity to stop and hoping that the light is going to turn red. You've been behind people like that who have their brake lights on as they approach a green light. Those are divine masters. They have been sent to you by God. So when you have an opportunity to stop, if your car hasn't stopped and empty, and your body has stopped and it's going to be there for a minute or two, then your mind also, if it could join your body and your car in stopping, you would have 2 minutes in which to meditate and get quiet. And you could just close your eyes and repeat the sound of God. 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 You did this very soft for 2 minutes. There's always somebody behind you to let you know when your 2 minutes are up. They'll do it instantly. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And off you go. And pretty soon, you're one of those drivers with your foot on the brake, hoping that a light will turn red so that you'll be able to connect to God. And you find opportunities in the day wherever you are. And the more there is sound around you that interferes with it, the more you are tested to see if in fact you can bypass that and not hear those noises. They're my tests all the time. Leaf blowers, you know, these funny little machines that spew out fumes and sound everywhere, have always been a very pet problem for me. I see them and instantly I was like, why not just, the wind puts the leaves where they belong. You blow them, blow them, blow them, 15 minutes later, wind comes along and they're right back where God wanted them. And my wife always says, it's your test. I say, stop with that your test crap. I don't want to hear it. It's what you teach. It's your test. And she's right. And then the leaf blowers leave and the tree cutters come along. And the tree cutters leave and the trimmers come along. And the trimmers leave and somebody's coming along to grind up cement. And other trucks go by. And it's like an endless parade of loud noise. And you have an option to go within and to just see if you can push that out and come and connect to God. And silence becomes something that you not only love and appreciate, but that you begin to crave. And it isn't that you're craving peace from the noise, you're craving the indivisible place within you that gets you to know God. It's the only time in all of your experience here in this human form that you will ever be close to God, because you can't divide silence. And that's why meditation is so important. Many of you know that I have a great teacher who came to me from India. His name is Sri Guruji. He asked me to teach a meditation. The meditation is called Japa, J-A-P-A. And I've been teaching this meditation for years and years now. Some of you, I'm sure, do it here. And it's nothing more than the repetition of the sound of the name of the divine. The sound that's in the name for God. And language is what originally was created from ancient mystics who heard sounds within them and then gave symbols to them that we call language today. And the sound that they heard within them that is representative of God, whether it's Jehovah, Krishna, Allah, God, Yahweh, Kali, Durga, Ra, the ancient names of God all have the sound of Ah. And the repetition of the sound of Ah, combined with putting your energy or attention on what you'd like to manifest, to which you are already connected. Remember, if God is everywhere, there's no place that God is not, then God is in you. And if God is in you and everywhere else, then God is in all that you perceive to be missing from your life. So that realigning your intention with this to which you are disconnected in your mind only, but are already connected in spirit to, allows you to attract it into your life. It's the basis of manifesting your destiny. And the use of this sound, which is the intermediate energy vibration between the world of form, the solid, and the world of spirit, the invisible. There's an intermediate dimension called sound. And this application of sound literally attracts from the world of spirit into the world of the material through the process of this thing called japa, the repetition of the sound of the name of the divine.